Hey folks, just another video, and this time about Echovox. A few people have been asking about the Echovox. You know, people wondering the best settings to use, and you know, how we get the captures. How is it possible to gain these captures as well? I already have videos out from the past. Yeah, they're probably a year or 2 year old now, where I showed you the settings. I have not varied from them a lot, to be honest. The settings that I'm using for the Echovox is pretty much the same. I'm actually still using the same bank A for a lot of the work I'm doing. Sometimes I'll use the other banks, but mostly I am still using that bank. So you know, I've not really done anything out of the ordinary. I found something that worked and I've sort of stuck at that. Tested a few different areas with the Echovox, but quite happy with the initial bank A and settings that I've always used. Now I'm going to show you just in a few minutes those settings again, just to be clear. But to start off with, I mean, what is Echovox? You know, now I've got articles on the Haunted Scotland website where I've spoke extensively about what Echovox is. You know, everything's there for people to go and read up on it and look at my working hypothesis, look at what I really truly feel about the whole setup, really. And but just to put it very, very briefly for people who could be searching YouTube or Google and looking to understand what is Echovox. You know, Echovox is an advanced technology where we have the ability to record audio live and gain feedback that could possibly be spirit. Now what we have here, unlike the Spirit Box, Frank's Box and these tools, we do not use radio signals. You know, there is a great confusion amongst people who have not used Echovox, where they are saying that it's just picking up radio signals and that we are just taking coincidence and, you know, deluding ourselves to think that spirit's there. That is not the case. As soon as somebody turns around and says, you know, you're just picking up radio signals, I know instantly that they have not used Echovox. And to prejudge something such as Echovox or any other tool that we use without actually using it yourself is highly ignorant. Highly ignorant. You know, that's when you know that the person who claims to be a skeptic or a cynic even is actually a pseudo-skeptic. Someone who pretends to be skeptical but are just following, you know, their own little peer group to try and be, or try to seem more intelligent than they actually are. I'll give you one quick example. I had somebody who was a supposed parapsychologist who left a comment on my video, Echovox is shit, I think the title is, and he put a comment up where it says, I agree so much with you, Ryan. I've been saying this for a long time. People are deluding themselves. They do not research things good enough, and I'm glad you said that. But if he had actually watched the video, he would have said that I said the opposite. And this was supposedly, in his words, a parapsychologist, a professional researcher, and he hadn't even watched the video. His comment is sitting in the spam queue, and I didn't authorise it. The reason I didn't authorise it, because I didn't want to embarrass him. So he knows who he is. You really need to be gathering information fully before you can judge anything. And this just goes to show that people are too quick to jump to conclusions and to either promote something or to try and debunk something without actually knowing themselves. And this is why I like a lot of the viewers who are on the channel, my subscribers as well, because everybody does critically think. Everybody is testing fully and they're sharing the results. And it's very exciting to see. So getting back to the Echovox, I've used it for over 2 years now, and when I first got it I was very skeptical. I didn't believe that an app could do this. It's basically got sound banks of phonemes. The building blocks to words are in there, And what seems to happen is we can have it running random. We ask a question on location. We leave a little gap in between. And then somehow these banks of audio rearrange themselves and they spit out coherence. Now, am I just talking about one-word answers? No. I mean phrases as well. If you check some of the videos on this channel, you will find full phrases that have come out. Now, I've been using it for 2 years. If there was anything embedded in there, I would have come across it by now. Now, there is a couple of small sounds in there that I hear now and then that sound like words, but I've managed to pinpoint them through analysis. So I know when those certain ones come through that they're nothing that is completely relevant. It could be relevant in a way, but nothing completely earth-shattering, you know. So I don't generally put them in, I bypass them. There's a few like that that are in there, but I'm talking about phrases. I'm talking about accents, Scottish accents, dialects. I'm speaking about, you know, slang words, things like dafty, a Scottish word for idiot. And I could go on and on and on. But when we get things like cart full of piss, I mean, that's quite a long, strange one. But also at the same time, on the same video, we've got here kitty kitty, you know, mentioning things like cat on the same. So we've got a conversation building through this device. Is it just coincidence? Are we deluding ourselves? No, I don't think so. There's too many researchers over the world, very intelligent people, critical thinkers who are coming out with results. And, you know, the ones who seem to be bashing the Echovox are either one, pseudo-skeptics who bash everything. They'll tell you to go and do the James Randi Prize and win $1 million, which I'll go into that Randi Prize in a future video. That is not all it's cracked up to be as well. But we'll talk about that later. And this is just more of the same, following the masses in a way that they follow their peers, the pseudo-skeptics, and they look up to people, you know, illusionists like James Randi or Dawkins or these kind of people, you know, and they just parrot the same thing. I want people who come from a position of uniqueness, who think for themselves, who test the stuff, and then they move forward, you know, and try and understand what's going on. I'm not interested in following what everybody else is doing. I'm not interested in, you know, looking towards mainstream science all the time and hoping that they'll be your saviour and give us the information. It's not going to happen. Not unless somebody with big funding comes in and provides that. You know, plus it shakes up too much of the working models of science as well, where they would have to start rewriting a few things. It's hard enough for them to understand quantum physics and to implement some of this information without them, you know, looking at unseen forces, randomizing, you know, sound phonemes and spitting out coherence, you know. So it's just not going to happen. We are on the fringes. We are on the fringes. But who's going to come and help push this into the mainstream? You know, it's going to be people like myself and like you and like other people who are researching in this area. So I'm going to show my sense. I'm not going to ramble on too much. I'm going to keep going and I'm going to lose people on this. So we're going to switch over and I'm going to show you what I use on location. I'm going to show you the settings that I'm using on location. And again, we'll jump onto the DJI Osmo so I can show you what we're doing here. And yeah, and maybe I'll just give you an idea of what I'm doing. But I have to stress at this point, this is what I do. What you do can be completely different and just as valid. So don't worry if your setup is different. Don't worry if you get slightly different results. We are all different. It could simply be due to the fact that you can hear it in a better way to me, so you've got different settings. A different sound bank, for instance. Or it could be you analyse things different, or you analyse things through a different piece of software. Because when you're processing things, it does sound slightly different. There's things you'll hear on my videos, you'll say, nah, I don't hear that, I hear this. And that's okay, it could be the point. I can only give it from my ear, you know, from my locations around here, and what sort of sounds like local dialect or accent. But sometimes I get foreign, international words and phrases as well. So let's hop over to the setup. Let's show you the settings that I'm using and see if it can help. I'll try and keep it as simple as possible. So let's have a look. Okay, so now we're moving over to the Echovox. So I'm going to move in here, and hopefully, without getting the reflection from the light in, you can see the start screen here. Okay, so if I can move that up a bit on its stand, and then we see you'll be met with your session name. So obviously put in the name of your location or home test like I've done here, or anything else that you want to input there so that you could locate that file within your device here. So I'm going to call it home test, and then I'm going to be met with this screen here. Okay, the first thing I always do is I will jump into the right hand panel, and then I will shuffle them. I want the randomness going back and forward here. So on the shuffle, then you've got the speed here underneath. So I like to put it up slightly higher on the speed, so that it really is getting through those channels there. So you can see your channels here, A, B, C, D, E and F. So it's going back and forward between all those, much like the devices that you get that scan through different channels on the radio. But this is going through sound banks and not radio signals like some have tried to say. We open up the bottom panel. We could put reverb on. Completely up to you whether you want to do that or not. So taking that away, and then we go into the left panel. Now we have the channel speed controls here. If I can move in slightly there without getting the reflection. Hopefully you can see that there. You can turn off the channel, keep it on. Now for speed, you can see the plus and minus signs. So obviously if you want to slow it down, you can put it down. If you want to keep it faster, that's completely up to you. As you can see, mine are random, but they're on the lower end of the spectrum here. So they're low down in volume, so that I have a better chance to hear communication live. Now you can have it faster and then slow it down in your analysis when you take it into Adobe Audition or Audacity. So that's completely up to you what you do. So down here we've got the controls for the echo. So you've got your echo and recording control here. Record on or off if you want to record it. You've got your echo delay, so you can delay the feedback from this. I like to keep it set at 0. And then you have your mic input. So now for mic input, if I just move that down there, you have to use an external speaker. If it's a device like this, the speaker is too close to the mic, and you know what happens then? You get terrible feedback. So what you need to do is you need to really plug in an external microphone. Now what do I use? If I move over to here, and hopefully you can see this, I have a Bluetooth speaker which I like to use on location for a few reasons. One, I can keep it away from the actual device to stop the feedback, and two, whenever Spirit seems to be in the area, I get an interference pattern coming into the Bluetooth signal, and I know around that point that it's a good possibility that we are actually gathering some sort of communication. So that's why I like to use that. This one is a rugged one, and you can throw this about. It's waterproof. It's fine for going out on location. But you do not need to use that. Some people prefer to use, and I have it plugged in, a little wired one. Now this is just a little cheap one. This one come from a local store. I think it was something like, I don't know, £5, which is what, under $10 if you're in America. So I think it's under $10 anyway. So yeah, I've got that plugged in there. There's not a long cable on this one, which is quite annoying. So because I'm going to start this and show you, I'm having to put it over the back here and out the way, because I know feedback is going to start. So if I push start here, and already we can hear that feedback. So this is where you have to play with this dial here. just lower it back until you can remove that. And then you really have to just start moving your speaker out the way. Now, you know, as I just said, it's very hard with this small speaker I've got. If you can get one with a larger cable on it, it's going to be absolutely perfect for you. So you play about with this, just keep putting it up, get a good input in there, and that seems quite fine at that. It's on the borderline, and then you're ready to start, and off it goes. So then you would begin to ask your questions into it, and just keep tweaking slightly to make sure that your audio is really, really high quality for your analysis or for sharing with others. And I just heard something that sounded like Ryan there. I'll have a listen to that later. So, and then I'm going to stop that just now so that it doesn't interfere with what we're talking about here. EMF meter K2. Now, I know it's sitting next to here to show you on the video, but don't put it too close to your device, or certainly don't put it too close to a Bluetooth speaker either, or you're going to get false positives coming in. You really want to try and put this a distance away, but where you can see it, so that you can actually ask for the lights to blink up to a level for communication. Yes, you can get communication through them, but yes, you've also got to be equally in the understanding that you'll get man-made interferences as well. So take a baseline test before you start, so you know if there's any interference. Check out for electric cables and things like this, and then find a nice area away from the signals that are going between these two here. You see that next to the Bluetooth speaker. So you really want to keep that out the way. If you've got it sitting here and it's clicking back and forward, and you think you have something, you possibly don't. You're possibly just picking up the signal from your setup that you have. Same with the cell sensor. This is just my backup one here that was gifted from a good friend, Mark Turner. And same setup again. Set this at another area of the room, or use it on your person. I usually record onto external dictaphone, so this is stereo. It would record into there. This would be back a bit from the speaker, because I do not want it to be too close, or I won't be able to hear properly on the analysis. So sometimes now, because I've got this Osmo that I'm filming on, it has a really good external mic plugged into it. So the last video or two that you've seen, all my analysis has been captured through the actual DJI Osmo camcorder that I'm holding. So that seems quite good, but yeah, you've got to have backups. And if I move around here, various camera equipment, because I'm trying to document exactly what I'm doing on location. So we've got the GoPro 4 here. We do have selfie sticks if I need to extend to look over any areas, or to have it facing onto me so you can see what I'm doing, or you can see what's going on behind me as I'm walking. And the digital SLR is just self-explanatory for the photography as well that I take on location. And basically that is the setup that I use, but mostly that is the settings that I use. They have not changed from our time before when we put out a video. I'm still using blank A. I'm still blending the channels and have it very random, and looking for some coherence to come out of the chaos of the Echovox, and it works, as people can see from the videos that are there. So play around with your settings. There is no correct setting. Everybody is different, so you will have settings that are completely different from mine, and possibly gaining really good results as well. But those are what I use. Those are what are getting results, and have done so for over 2 years now. So that is quite good. So when that's done, if you want to see a video, I can show you. You know, I'm sitting in front of the screen here. I can show you the analysis process. You can see Adobe Audition there if I pull back a bit. You know, and I'll take the records in there.
Bluetooth speaker.
Yeah, you can see that going there. And obviously then I create my films through power director. And again, I could show you how to do this if it's something that you would be interested in. So yeah, I think that'll do for now because this video is running long. And that is the settings, guys. That is the equipment I'm using. And if you'd like to see some setups on location, exactly what I do behind the scenes, I could get somebody to film that as I'm doing it, and you can see exactly what goes on. So thank you for now, and I will speak more soon.